Well, we know a generation gap in American politics has been around for a long time, but it continues to divide on major issues. More than ever, in fact. Millennials are veering to the left, and many are opting even for socialism. This after examining the attitudes and beliefs of 4 adult generations, the Pew Research Center found millennials remain the most liberal of all these generations. And some universities and high schools have even noticed a surge in socialist beliefs. Joining me now, Evan Siegfried, author of GOP, GPS, and president of Some Consulting. Madison Jessiotto, Washington Times columnist, also National Diversity Coalition for Trump advisor, and back with us, Kristen Tate. Madison, let me start with you. This is in your wheelhouse. These are the kids you're supposed to be recruiting, but it feels like they've drifted further and further left.
You know, I think it's a combination of 3 things that we're seeing here. Number 1, the effect of things like fake and biased news. Number 2, the inadequate teaching of history and civics across this country in high schools and even, middle schools as well, and colleges, I would argue. On top of that, I think the other thing we're seeing is a lack of political interest among so many millennials. I mean, they're not aware of what's going on. So they'll, go on social media and they'll tweet something out, but they don't know what they're talking about. They're not really interested in learning the history. They're not really interested in learning the meaning of the policies and how these policies affect them. And so I think those 3 things combined are causing what we're seeing right now.
Evan, your book, GOP, GPS, actually warned against this even before the 2016 election.
Yes, because we've always had a millennial problem as a party, and everything Madison just said was false. Millennials are actually the most informed generation in the United States. They are the most educated generation in American history. They are the most diverse generation. They're the largest sector of the workforce and the largest sector of the voting bloc. In that Pew Research poll, it found that millennials, 62% of them, are excited and looking forward to voting in the 2018 midterms, compared to 4 years ago in the 2014 midterms, only 46%.
But many of them don't know what they're talking about.
They do know what they're talking about. The problem is
they don't.
Madison,
they're talking about socialism being beneficial to this country.
Ridiculousness. So I'm going to finish this and rebut you with facts. And the facts are, even among young Republicans, 18 to 29, we shrank as a party. We lost 23% of them between December 2015 and March of 2017. And do you want to know why millennials aren't coming to the Republican Party? Because we never made a real effort. They are the most fiscally conservative generation, and I'm a millennial myself, an older one at that.
Hold on.
I'm talking.
Madison, I'll let you in 1 second. I'll let you back in.
We have not offered them.
Millennials are not fiscally conservative, okay? The millennial generation is the first generation to be more poor than their parents' generation. These kids aren't making a lot of money, therefore they're not paying a lot in taxes, and frankly, most of them are economic idiots. And I put 100% of the blame for this on the education system we have that is continuously promoting left-wing politics and encouraging kids to get their degrees. And frankly, subject to no future.
You wouldn't disagree, though, that when our kids, and most of these public school systems are extremely left, and they promote those sort of policies, and then they keep going when they're in college. I mean,
They certainly do, but at the same time, why was Bernie Sanders successful with millennials? He was the only one who actually talked about the issues that matter to them. Republicans have not listened to millennials and said, oh, these are these issues. Take student debt, which was Bernie Sanders' key issue. $1.3 trillion in America of student debt. That is nearly double all private credit card debt. And on top of that, 63% of millennials have over $10,000 in student debt.
Right.
Not one Republican
debt, by
offered
the way,
a solution.
has just come online.
Yeah, I think American students have been sold a bill of goods by a failing education system. That education system has then turned around and told these kids, oh, it's not your fault. It's Donald Trump's fault. It's the Republicans' fault.
Right.
That's where the disconnect
Let's bring
is.
Madison back into the conversation. Madison?
And going back to the initial point of what you were asking about, Charles, and socialism, why are so many millennials supporting or thinking that socialism is a good idea for this country? I do believe that what I said is right. I don't think that him rebutting me saying facts about Bernie Sanders speaking about issues that people care about. Of course, Bernie Sanders spoke about issues that people care about. It doesn't mean socialism is a good idea for this country.
No, I agree with you. His solutions are wrong, but he spoke about them. Which Republican did?
It certainly doesn't mean that people in high schools, middle schools, and colleges learning one side of socialism, not seeing the negative effects.
Madison, how does the Republican Party reach out to these kids, these younger voters?
Well, I think that we're reaching out by impacting them directly. We're now with the tax cuts. with additional things that we're going to do over the next 3 to 7 years. I think that's how we're going to get them back to the party. We can talk all day long, but it's about action.
They're
it's about
voting
them
against
seeing
us,
the
and they're going to
effects.
help deliver the majority in the House to Democrats because we have not been able to seriously do that.
Look, you guys, I think
Speculation,
you
and
guys
it's been
Final
a year.
word real quick.
It's been a year,
both
not 8.
right. I think the best way to turn a liberal into a conservative is with good-paying jobs. So the Republicans have to continue hammering away on these economic policies.
All right, thank you all very much. I should say all of you guys are Republicans and conservatives. There's an old saying, right? When you're young, if you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart. When you're old, if you're not a conservative, you don't have a brain.
We're all heartless
Let's leave it
bigots.
there.